The rain fell in delicate sheets, draping the streets of Los Angeles in a shimmering glow. The neon signs of late-night diners flickered against the wet asphalt, and the occasional car sped past, its headlights carving pale streaks through the darkness. Under the awning of an abandoned storefront, a frail dog curled into itself, its golden fur muddied and tangled, its ribs faintly visible beneath the thin layer of skin. It shivered, ears twitching at every passing sound, but too exhausted to move. A man in a worn leather jacket walked with quiet purpose along the sidewalk. His steps were unhurried, his gaze thoughtful as he scanned his surroundings. His bearded face was partially obscured beneath the brim of a weathered cap, the city's glow casting faint shadows across his features. Most people would have passed him without a second glance, mistaking him for just another wanderer lost in the city's indifferent tide. But when his eyes fell upon the trembling creature in the alcove, his pace slowed. He knelt without hesitation, reaching into the paper bag he carried. The scent of roasted chicken wafted through the cold night air as he unwrapped a sandwich, tearing off a tender piece and holding it out. "Here, buddy," he murmured. "You look like you could use this." The dog hesitated, its dark eyes filled with uncertainty. It sniffed the air, gauging the stranger, before inching closer. Hunger won the battle over fear, and the dog took the offering, chewing slowly as if savoring something long forgotten. The man smiled, breaking off another piece, watching as the creature devoured it with growing trust. A block away, seated behind the windshield of a black sedan, a photographer adjusted the focus of his camera. His pulse quickened as he captured the moment, an act of compassion so raw it didn't need embellishment. For weeks he had trailed Keanu Reeves, not seeking scandal, but truth. And tonight he had found it. 3 nights earlier, Keanu had left the set of a long, grueling shoot, the weight of exhaustion pressing against him. He had slipped onto his motorcycle, craving solitude, the open road, a welcome escape. He had no destination in mind, just the urge to ride, to feel the crisp wind cut through the lingering thoughts that never fully settled. At a red light, his gaze wandered to the dimly lit alleyway on his right. A man sat hunched against a graffitied wall, arms wrapped protectively around a dog. The animal trembled, its thin body barely covered by the ragged blanket draped over both of them. The light turned green, but Keanu remained where he was. He shut off his engine, swung a leg over the bike, and approached with careful steps. "Hey," Keanu said, his voice gentle. The man looked up, his eyes weary, but kind. "Evening," he murmured, his voice rough from the cold. Keanu crouched down. "Your dog?" The man nodded. "Found him a while back. Can't leave him? He's family now." Keanu studied the dog, its fur a shade of deep gold, though dirt dulled its vibrance. He could see the sharp edges of its ribs, the frailty in its stance. He reached into his pocket, fingers grazing a few bills, but he hesitated. Money wasn't what was needed right now. "When's the last time either of you ate?" Keanu asked instead. The man hesitated before answering. "Yesterday, maybe the day before." Keanu stood. "Wait here." He walked across the street to a food truck, ordered 2 meals, and returned within minutes, handing one to the man. The other he unwrapped himself, breaking it into smaller pieces for the dog. The animal sniffed the food hesitantly, then began eating with desperate gratitude. The man watched in silence before taking a slow bite of his own meal. "Why are you doing this?" the man asked eventually. Keanu's lips twitched into a faint smile. "Because someone should." The dog nudged Keanu's hand, licking away the last traces of food. Keanu chuckled, scratching behind its ears. "He likes you," the man observed. Keanu exhaled, warmth settling in his chest. "Yeah," he murmured. "I like him too." The man hesitated before speaking again. I don't know how much longer I'll be out here, but if something happens to me, could you make sure he's okay?" Keanu met his gaze, understanding the unspoken fears, the quiet resignation of a man who had lived too many nights without shelter. He nodded solemnly. "I promise." The photo of Keanu feeding the stray dog swept across the internet in mere hours. Social media overflowed with praise, headlines exalting his humility, his kindness. But Keanu barely acknowledged the attention. Instead, he returned to the alleyway with fresh food in hand, searching for the familiar pair. The man was gone. The blanket remained, discarded against the wall. But the dog, he was still there, waiting. Keanu crouched, scratching gently behind the dog's ears. "Hey, buddy," the dog whined, pressing into his touch, its tail wagging with cautious hope. Keanu let out a quiet sigh. He had made a promise. "You want to come with me?" The dog hesitated for only a moment before stepping forward. Keanu lifted him gently, cradling the fragile body against his chest as he carried him to his motorcycle. The rain had stopped, leaving the city glistening under streetlights as he rode home. The warmth of his new companion nestled against him. He felt something settle within him, something quiet, something right, because sometimes the smallest acts of kindness leave the greatest impact.